Chase, thank you for having you here. What was, in your opinion, the biggest innovation in transport for the last 50 years?
That's a very hard question. If I think about it, and it's not one that I love, but I think the ability to do road tolling in cars at high speeds, and why I think that's interesting is it has enabled us to do transportation financing better. It gives drivers the idea of they're paying as they use the road in real time. And we've put a device into cars that makes people think about, here's a device I can start doing other things with. I think it's a point that has changed consumers' attitudes, infrastructure financing, and is a technology as something that can help us forward the transportation perspective. So I want to take that much farther, but I think in the last 50 years, that was a good start.
Okay, taking it further, what would, in your mind, be the biggest, or will be the biggest innovation that we're looking for in the next, let's say, 20 or 50 years?
I see two places where we should be finding the most innovation. And in this technology realm, if we can have open platforms, open networks, open data, much more open data, that means as an innovator, my costs of innovation are much lower. I don't have to go create the platform, I don't have to make the device, I don't have to find the data, I can start experimenting on that. So an example would be the explosion of apps on the iPhone is because I don't have to be an engineer that knows communication devices, embedded systems, I just have to work at the top level. And that has created a huge amount of innovation. I'd like to see that happen in cars and other parts of the transportation network. So one would be more openness, so it's less cost and skill level for me to start innovating.
Talking about enabling innovation, what do you think does it need to enable innovations?
The other piece to enabling, besides the openness, I think is for us to stop thinking about a very binary use of vehicles and transportation. Right now we're thinking that the public sector is the answer, or that the private sector, and we think of big companies will be doing the answer. The world is very big. The number of niches and locations and means in which people need to travel is enormous, and we can't rely on those two big entities to do it. So I think we need to think of cars not just as owned by one person who insures it and has the liability and is the only one who can drive it. I think we need to think of cars as much more fluid, so I can take my one car and I could rent it to people, or I could share rides to people and take real money. Today it's illegal actually to do that, and insurance won't support that if I got in a car accident. That means my willingness to move to a less car-dependent life makes sense financially, and we can start having much more experimentation, particularly when we go to the edge situations, like edges of cities, or in rural situations. We know that the government won't be able to come up with a solution, or big companies won't, because it's too, the niche, the solutions are too niche.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot.